Hello, my name is Kate Hula, and this is my ESOL883 Module 6 Digital Media presentation. My first question that I want to go over is what assessments are administered to culturally and linguistically diverse students, or CLD students. We give the LAS Links assessment, which is a formal assessment, twice a year, once in the fall and once in the spring. This lets us know how well our students have progressed with their English skills in the 4 domains of speaking, listening, writing, and reading. We also get the CALPA assessment, which is a formal assessment given by the state once a year in the spring over the same 4 domains. We also get progress monitoring, which are informal assessments, and examples of those are running records and oral samples. These are given as needed depending on what you're teaching and how often you need to check in and see how well they are applying those skills. My next question is, what are key signs to identify a language deficiency versus special educational needs? One of the key signs is how long have they been a CLD student. If they have been in the ESL program for a few years and we still aren't seeing any progress, then we know that that might be something that we will need to look in further for special needs. Whereas if they've been in the program for a very short period of time, then we know this is probably still part of their language developing skills, and we need to give them some more time to get used to using the new language. Another key sign would be if they have the same areas of concern in their native language or their L1 as they do in their target language, which is the L2. If a student has a hard time with comprehending stories in Spanish and they have a hard time comprehending English stories, then we know that might be an area where they will need some special educational support. Another key sign would be if they are making growth in other areas except for the area that is a concern. So if they are growing in other areas except for their comprehension skills, then we know that there might be a problem with their ability to comprehend what they are reading or what is read to them, which needs to be addressed with special educational needs. And the last key sign I'm going to go over today is the impact of applied strategies. So if we have been applying strategies and we still aren't seeing any growth, and we've changed strategies and we still aren't seeing any growth, then we know this is something that we might need to take to the next step. My next question is, what methods can educators implement to foster language development for CLD students? What we can do is allow students to practice using their BICS, or their basic interpersonal communication skills, with their peers. So this will help them to feel more comfortable with the language, such as doing this basic communication skills like how are you, or I am sad, or I had a great day today, which will then help them with their CALP, which is their cognitive academic language proficiency, which is more their reading comprehension skills or applying those cause and effect skills. Another method that we can use as teachers is the response protocol. This helps us to also emotionally support our students because it helps them to respond in class. The response protocol helps teachers with responses that are correct, partially correct, or responses that are in another language, or responses as questions, responses that are wrong, and also silent responses. This kind of gives the teacher an idea of how they can reply to those to help the student come to the correct answer, as well as practice using their English skills. The last method that I'm going to talk about is the use of visuals and vocabulary. It is very important for ESL students for us to explain those key words for them and give those vocabulary as well as visuals, because it'll help them to make connections to those words in their L1 or their native language, which will then help them to remember those words and apply them later on with English. My last question is, how important is parental and community involvement? This is very important because it helps to build a relationship with the teacher, the student, and the parents. If everyone is on the same page, then we can make sure that we are doing what's best for the student. It also gives the parent and the student a sense of security and belonging in a new country that they aren't used to. And it also allows for open communication about areas where the student is succeeding, but also about areas that are concerns, which will then allow us to take the next steps of educational needs if they are needed because we will have that parent support because of our communication with them.